Hey guys, it's Chicks. Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at two different paintings that I made. They're a bit similar. They're both landscapes made with pastel colors, done with acrylic on acrylic paper, but they're actually part of a bigger set. These two paintings come with a third that is not visualized here because first off, I wasn't able to film the process of making that one. And second off, I've already given it away. So, we'll be looking at these two instead, and I hope it's still a bit interesting for you. And maybe you could just imagine what the third one looks like. Or you could check out my Instagram and see what the third one looks like. Wink, wink! So the whole reason I was doing this is actually for exercise. I enjoy making landscapes and still lifes, but I haven't really done it in this way, in this manner. So the first thing that I wanted to learn with this exercise was deciding how to put together all of the colors I wanted. So as you can see, these are all pastel colors. They were actually inspired by a set of pens I was able to acquire. And I enjoyed their colors so much, I decided to do sort of like a 3-color challenge. However, the actual reason that I continued with this challenge was because it was creating some sort of limitation for me. The great thing about having a limitation was that it gave me the chance to try and figure out the bounds of my skills and teach me what I don't know. I'm not very good. I wasn't formally trained in art. I do it as a hobby. I enjoy it very, very much. But all I know about it are things I've learned on YouTube, things I've learned in some art classes I took while I was growing up. And it doesn't really mean that I can create compositions, I can follow things with color, or I can make things aesthetically pleasing the way I wanted them to. Instead, the way I create art is to just make something that I like. If it ends up looking like something that I enjoy, I don't really necessarily know how to critique my art. In that way, I guess I can say that I don't really know how to improve in my art, but in a way, I decided to just focus on small things a little at a time. For these paintings, it's kind of obvious that I wanted to decide how to put things down on the page while thinking about 1, composition, and 2, color. Again, I already said that I love landscapes, I enjoy making them, I enjoy sketching them, I enjoy looking at them. But making landscapes gives you a lot of freedom. You can put a lot of different things on the landscape and it would still look very, very beautiful and unique. For example, if you put a tree in a landscape, a tree is a tree will look good in a landscape. So what was the challenge for me? The first challenge, because I was focusing more on forms, is for me to see how well I can push the level of shape so that it could still show people what I wanted them to see. For example, in this part, I needed to figure out how to portray to the viewer that these are mountains and that there is depth and interest in them without leaving them flat, but also without putting too much detail in each of them. I wanted these landscapes to be simple, to be minimalist, but I still wanted everything to be recognizable and I still wanted things to have interest. So in this manner, I was able to work with both shape and the shades of the colors so that I can better show and portray my viewers what I really wanted them to see. Since these 3 colors don't really go together in usual landscapes, I mean, you need a bit more green, a bit more brown for the typical wood landscape, typical forest, typical mountain landscape. It was more of a challenge of figuring it out how well I can push the balance of aesthetics as well as still keeping that familiarity of what a landscape should look like. For example, I wouldn't necessarily put together the ocean and pink together. And yet here it sort of kind of works. It sort of creates this more surrealist landscape while still portraying that this is a landscape. This is a possible landscape. In certain ways, these colors can definitely be seen in nature. I just wanted to move them all around in each of the three paintings to try and figure out how colors can still portray different things just by placing them in different places. In this manner, I enjoyed creating pink sea and purple mountains and still creating a landscape that's recognizable and honestly, for me, very aesthetically pleasing. Now, when I was creating these paintings, I was looking at different references online. The whole reason I was doing that was because I wasn't trying to create things straight from my mind. I was more of trying to figure out how these concepts, form and shape, can insert themselves into what a landscape could be like. There's another skill I was trying to learn here, and that's just getting better with my brush skills. Again, I'm not classically trained. I haven't gone to painting classes. I learned how to paint on my own from just basically doing it. So I'm not really good at using proper brushes, using things where they should be used, and even mixing paint and creating the colors I want and different kinds like that. I was creating these paintings with acrylic paint, acrylic paper, and some cheap brushes. I've used cheap brushes before and I've used acrylic paint before, but I've never used acrylic paper for an actual piece. So aside from learning how to actually make some smaller, more exciting and things that actually reflect what I really want to paint, I was actually learning something new. Before this, I didn't even know that acrylic paper was a thing. So again, I don't really know how to paint. So this isn't a tutorial of any sort. I just wanted to talk about how I tried to make something that I was proud of and how I enjoyed it at the same time. I want this video to be a reminder for me one day that I enjoyed making these simple projects and learning and enjoying and just having fun painting. And I think that looking at these time lapses while I'm recording this video, this audio, I think it does remind me how good it felt. One of the reasons I was enjoying this so much is because before this, I didn't really paint to just paint for me. I used to paint to make gifts, I used to paint to decorate my walls. Well, I still do all those things, but it's just that for me, painting has become some sort of handicraft, something that I could create, something that I could give away, not really something for me. But when I did this series, I reminded myself that I started painting because I loved it. I enjoyed creating art. I still enjoy creating art and making something for me, just for me, was really the point of learning how to do these things. I wanted to be able to put my feelings onto paper, whether it was painting or drawing or whatever. And I guess during this series, I realized that I could do that I had the talent to do that. I don't mean to say that I'm better than anyone else or that I'm more skilled than anyone else. All I want to say is that I'm very thankful that I actually have this chance, that I have the opportunity to try and take the things out of my mind and creatively put it on paper. I know not everyone has that chance, not everyone has that opportunity. So I'm just very grateful that I can learn, I can get better, and that I can enjoy. I'm sure you can see from these videos that I'm not a professional artist. I make things for me, I make things that I enjoy, and they're not necessarily for profit, they're not necessarily for people to see, but they are for me. And that's what I want this video to remind me of always, all the time. That for me, art began as a happy thing. Art began because I enjoyed it. Art began for me because it reminds me to relax and to give myself time to breathe. And because it's amazing. The feeling of creating something from my brain to the paper, it's amazing. And these paintings will forever remind me of that. So here you go. 2 of the 3 in this pastel series. Just 2 landscapes, 2 pastel landscapes. Quite simple, very, very easy to recreate, but meant something, meant a lot to me while I was making them. So there we have it. That's the second of the 2 paintings filmed here. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you have a good day.